This program is sponsored by Imagine Theaters, Able Ideas, Comic City, and Echo Network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Comics, Beer, and Sci-Fi. I'm Nick. As always, I'm here with Jill. And what do we have first, Jill?
Well, we're going to jump right in this week. We're going to go to Q, who talked to one of the stars from his favorite franchise.
All right, Q.
This is the Q from Comics, Beer, and Sci-Fi. I'm here at the Motor City Comic Con with GARRETT WANG from Star Trek Voyager. How's it going today?
Going well. Thank you for pronouncing my name correctly also. I appreciate that.
What was your favorite episode?
Oh, man. My favorite episode was probably Timeless, the 100th episode. My favorite non-Harry Kim episode is Tinker Tenor Dr. Spy with the Doctor in it. One of my favorite moments was when filming Caretaker, the very first episode of Voyager. That was an amazing episode, amazing first episode. We filmed on location. It was just like we were doing a movie. And it was also the time that I got to meet all my fellow castmates for the first time, including Tim Russ, who played Tuvok, okay? So I walk up to Tuvok, and I go, hey, man, so great to meet you. Guess what? You changed one letter in your character's name. You could have been Tupac, is what I said. And then, so I'm like, ha-ha. And he's looking at me like this.
No emotion.
No emotion, just like a real Vulcan in real life. And this is what he says. He looks at me, he's like, rap music. Rap music is the reason for the fall of modern Western civilization. And that was his answer.
Really?
Off camera. He wasn't being Tuvok. He is Tuvok in real life. Yes. He is the most non-black man I've ever met in my life. What African-American male says rap music is the reason for the fall of modern Western civilization? I don't know. I don't know who says that.
Not me.
Not me either. Like, he's a Vulcan in real life. That's why they cast him, because he's really like that. If you call his answer machine and beep, hello, you have reached Tim Russ.
Oh, that's just fast. That just made my day.
Wait for him to show up here for you to interview him.
Oh, yes, because I'm going to remember this day for the rest of my life. I am so going to remember this. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Q.
And now it's time for Mark with the new movie segment.
Coming out this week, we have two sequels, and the first one is The Equalizer 2, starring Denzel Washington.
Whoever did this have off-chart skill sets. If at the agency, family. You ever see Star Trek? Very good. Call 911.
Go time. Roll it down with a good rhyme and I run out with a baton. That's a relay race with a bouquet. They say, K, you gon' marry mine. Yeah. Okay.
They killed my friend. So I'm going to kill each and every one of them. And the only disappointment is that I only get to do it once.
The second film coming out this week is Unfriended, Dark Web, about a teen who comes in possession of a new laptop and soon discovers that the previous owner is not only watching him, but will do anything to get it back.
Who? The ones who buy the videos, the ones who pick the girls. What the hell? They've all been watching.
Oh my God. That's my mom.
No!
If they found Lex, can't they find the rest of us too?
They've had control this whole time. Please, leave us alone! Get out of there right now!
I can hear you. Are you still
Kelly,
there?
I can't see you.
Since we're talking sequels, coming out in November is Ralph Breaks the Internet, the sequel to Wreck-It Ralph.
Whiffy, or is it wifey?
Why don't we just go in?
And we are online. Whoa, cool.
Ralph, isn't this great? We are going to the internet!
Super excited. Just one minor thing. What is the internet? Oh, holy cow. Look at all this stuff.
That's it for this week, but coming out next week, you guessed it, another sequel.
Thanks, Mark.
And now we're going to go to the Astronomicon.
We are from Creatures of the Night, airbrush and special effects makeup. We also work at a local haunted house during haunting season, but for us, this is a 24/7, 365 days a year event for us.
We got here and my sister's like, face paint. I'm like, yeah.
If they're brave enough to hop in the chair and just let us play, that's what it's all about. You know, we try and make it affordable and fun for people, you know, and it just helps people get into the mood for the event. So yeah, we love to be here, and it's just fun to transform somebody from their everyday life into something creepy, sexy, fun. We actually painted a burlesque dancer, so we did a full body paint. She turned out completely like Bride of Frankenstein. We did her hair with the stripes, and you know, she had no clue what I was going to do to her, and she was all for it, and it came out amazing.
Hand the mirror to the person when they're done, and they look at it, and it's like, and they smile, and they can't believe it. That's, you know, payment enough right there, just seeing the joy it brings them.
Wow, that looks like fun. Nick, you ever think about wearing makeup?
Too much of a drag.
Not that kind of makeup.
Oh.
I'll give you some tips on the break.
Okay. Speaking of which, we'll be right back with more Comic Experience Sci-Fi.
The magic of movies and more isn't just our tagline. We believe in its truth. A movie theater auditorium where wonderful stories unfold is a magical place. Whether a 2-hour film, a 3-hour epic, or merely the anticipation of viewing trailers, your every viewing experience is very important to us. Imagine's a pure Michigan company, founded and operated by Michigan natives. And moviegoers like you aren't just customers, you're our guests. So when it comes to moviegoing, we know you have a choice. And on behalf of our entire team, thank you for choosing Imagine.
Welcome back to Comic Experience Sci-Fi. What's next?
We have Samantha with this week's video game segment.
Hi guys, this is Samantha with Comic Experience Sci-Fi, and this week we're going to check out some cool new games. Coming out this week is Banner Saga 3.
Man and Val alike have feared the stone Goliaths called Dredge since the dawn of creation. Expressionless eyes give little hint as to why they now swarm across the landscape, trampling homestead and farmland in the pursuit of some unknowable goal beyond reach. Terrifying Dredge champions called Sunder lead the jet black armies as they cut a swath across the land. The unkillable warlord Bellower and shape-shifting Eyeless have been waylaid only by the cunning of mankind's most powerful spellweavers. But in dark and quiet places, men trade whispers of more on the way. With countless dredge descending upon humanity's last bastion, and the darkness looming on the horizon, do they even need the Sunder to bring the last survivors of Arborang to their knees?
And in a few months, we have the long-awaited Red Dead Redemption 2.
You have to love yourself a fire. It's one of the blessings. Sure, we can have fire. And we can have the knowledge of fire. But with that comes the knowledge of everything. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a robbery.
Sons of Dutch. Makes us brothers. Sometimes brothers make mistakes.
You'll never change. I know that.
All of you venerate savagery. And you will die savagely. Get out here!
Stay strong. Stay with me. You have to love yourself a fire.
Thanks for watching. Catch you next week. This has been Samantha with Comic Experience Sci-Fi.
Thanks, Sam. Now let's go to Nick at the Motor City Comic Con.
And I'm here with Aaron Smolinski, whose, I think, first claim to fame was playing Baby Superman in 1978 Superman, the movie. Aaron, tell us about that experience.
That was right. It was an incredible experience. You know, most people are shocked that I remember it, but I do. It was 9 days of filming, and I remember a ton of it. I remember lifting the car, the best part was the candy and food table they had, because as a 3-year-old, I got all the free candy and food and donuts I wanted. So that was the best part to me. And speaking into Richard Donner's walkie-talkie, which was cool. That was like a great toy. But it was incredible. I remember being in the capsule. It was like 90 degrees inside because of all the lights it had. And people because I was in there for about 10, 15 minutes before I pushed it open. And they're like, what did you do in there? I was like, I just sung "Oh Canada." I'm Canadian.
You were also in Superman 2 and 3, correct? Now, what capacity were you in those films?
So, Superman 2, it was just basically a flashback of the same thing. And I was actually in 2 Superman 2s because there was the Lester and the Donner cut.
Right.
And then Superman 3, I was the kid that was by the photo booth when he's changing from Clark into Superman and he rips a picture off, which I still have that actual picture.
That's awesome.
So I was in that as well. And the lady that plays my mom in that was my mom. Yeah, so we made it a family affair.
Okay, and also in, of course, the first Superman, you got a chance to act with the legendary Glenn Ford. Do you remember what Glenn Ford was like at all?
He was very nice, very professional. There's a funny story. So where Ma Kent says he doesn't have any family, I would always say, yes, I do. Yes, I do. So after finally the third take, Glenn Ford was like, all right, we got to figure something out here. So that's when her line came in where she says, not around here anyway. Because I kept saying, yes, I do. And I remember saying, yes, I do, because my parents were there, and I felt guilty not admitting that I had family, because I'm like, I do. They're right there.
So 3 years old, and you're causing problems with the script.
I was already rewriting, and it's been that way ever since.
Aaron, what are you up to these days?
I've got a movie I'm starting in August called Astronomy Walkers. We're going to be filming in Easter Island. So I'm actually producing that as well. And then, family man, living in LA and just living the life, auditioning and stuff. So it's great.
We appreciate you talking to us and coming out to Motor City Comic Con.
Good job, Nick. Now it's time for Q's TV Picks of the Week.
This is the Q from Comics Mirror Sci-Fi here for another week of TV. Starting off with Winona Earp. I love this show, even though it's on another network that I can't talk about. Cheap graphics, but hey, we all know what we expect from this network. Check it out.
I fear this is about to get weird.
Bad guys. Suck, Hellref. Stop clipping and run!
That's it. Go time.
And on that same network that I can't mention is Killjoys. Season 4, But You Had Me at Beautiful Bounty Hunters.
How about a story? A true story. A memory of yours I need you to hold on to. When the nights were long and the days were deep, there lived a lovely, lonely warrior and the thief who was about to save us all.
And also coming out is OUTCAST, which is a show about possession and demons and all that good stuff, created by Robert Kirkman, the same guy that did The Walking Dead. And if you like The Walking Dead, you should like OUTCAST. So I guess I'm not gonna like it.
My dad says it's like you're a puppet, and the black thing's pulling your strings.
Whew, that show looks like it's gonna be boring. All right, this has been the Q for Comics Mirror Sci-Fi. Have a good week.
Thanks, Q.
Time for a commercial break. Stick around for more Comics Beer and Sci-Fi.
Stop what you're doing and come check out how we do things here at Able Ideas Comic Book Production Company. Bet we got your attention. Now go to our YouTube channel to subscribe and follow us on social media. Stay tuned for our uncensored DVD coming soon. And for more information, follow us at ableideas.com where your ideas come to life.
Welcome back to Comics, Beer, and Sci-Fi, everybody. It is now time for the beer segment with Brad in beautiful Hazel Park.
Hey, it's the Bradcast, and I'm here with Shannon Long, and we're in Hazel Park at Cellarman's. What do you have for us?
Lots of mead, lots of cider, and lots of fun. Let's go check it out.
Let's start with the name, Cellarman's, not a single man, men. Tell me about Cellarmen.
So we came up with the name just based on what we all started as. When you start in the business, you start as a cellarman, and that's the guy who's getting kicked around in the back most of the time, and they're the ones doing all the actual work.
Tell me about how you guys got started here.
I started out in October 2015. We had all worked at other places before. Two of us knew each other since we were in kindergarten, actually. Myself and Andy knew each other since, early 90s, and then we met Ian later on.
You are literally brewing and fermenting everything in sight. Tell me about what you sell.
Yeah, we sell mead, cider, and beer, and we've even made grape wine. Pretty much fermentation is the main thing. You got that correct, because we've had everything in here from Pinot Noir and Chardonnay grapes to mead that we make every day, cider that we make every day from apples.
What is mead versus wine versus beer? What's the differences between all these?
So pretty much mead is all, it's just honey, water, and yeast.
So the fermentable sugars in beer are malted barley, and wine it's grapes, and mead it's honey.
And then with cider it's just raw cider.
So one question I've always been wondering is mead can sometimes, be shoved to the side because it's a lot more expensive, generally. Why is it more expensive?
Just because of honey. The price on honey is crazy, like to grain or, grapes or even cider. Plus, it takes a little bit longer to make and all that. You have to add in nutrient to feed your yeast because honey is just sugar and water.
Thank you for inviting me to Cellarman's. This is a great place. Everybody should come here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming to drink with me and the boys. It was fun. Cheers.
Hey everybody, it's Nick with Comic Book. Casey and Miles here, and we are at the Vault of Midnight in downtown Detroit. We have some sad news in the comic book community. One of the very biggest, greatest giants has recently passed. Steve Ditko, co-creator of Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, a wonderful artist with incredible visuals. In fact, he was so good at what he did, Stan Lee actually had to choose him over Jack Kirby to bring Spider-Man to life because Kirby couldn't draw him meek and mild enough, and Ditko could really handle the human aspect of superheroes. And you can check out some of his beautiful artwork in these compilations that Marvel has put together, whether it's Spider-Man or Doctor Strange, the action, the visuals of the other worlds and dimensions of Doctor Strange, just stuff that you've never seen before anywhere. Casey, what's your recollections of Steve Ditko's work?
Well, the fact that he made Hawk and Dove very relevant, because those are two characters I never really took an interest in until I found some of his old classic work on Hawk and Dove. And also the fact that you mentioned that Jack Kirby couldn't draw Spider-Man correctly. Ditko studied under Jerry Robinson, one of the better known artists for Batman, before he was recruited by Stan to come over and start working with him.
Okay, and how about you, Miles? As a younger reader, what does Steve Ditko mean to you?
I'm a huge fan of all his horror stuff. Stuff like Tales of Mysterious Traveler. All the stuff that he did with Creepy magazine. I love. He had such a good way of putting like mood, making things just like ultra creepy. And I think that's something you can even see in those first issues of Spider-Man. Spider-Man doesn't look like your traditional superhero. He's got this mask with the webbing on, and he doesn't. Yeah, there is something a little bit more mysterious to him than, say Mr. Fantastic, or
Yes, in the bizarre villains, we talk about Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. Let's not forget every Spider-Man villain was first drawn by Steve Ditko, Doc Ock, Electro, the Vulture, all of them. So what a great talent. Rest in peace, Steve Ditko.
This is Richie Rollins with Comic Experience Sci-Fi, and I am here with Joe Hollywood at his casa. You got a bunch of stuff here, Joe. Want to tell us about it?
Well, growing up as a child, my family spent an awful lot of time in the movie theater, watching movies like Cannonball Run, Smokey and the Bandit, the James Bond movies. And on TV, there was the A-Team and the Dukes of Hazzard and, Starsky and Hutch. And so Hollywood cars have always been part of my life growing up. And then around the year 2000, I started to discover die-cast cars made by different companies that focused on Hollywood cars. So I put together a little display. I had a case that held about 24 cars, and I filled it up with Hollywood cars. So my collection continued to grow and grow and grow, and now it's what you see here.
You don't have a girlfriend, do you?
No, I don't.
What's your favorite cars here? What's your favorites of all these ones that are out here?
That's like asking a parent to pick their favorite child. But if I had to focus on a car, it would have to be the Batmobile. I grew up watching Batman in syndication. I wasn't born yet when it was on TV first. As a matter of fact, I was born the year Batman was on TV.
Speaking of Batman, I understand you collect a lot of dolls. And you have a lot of Batman.
Cut that part out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's say dolls.
Sorry. Action figures.
But yeah, a good chunk of my collection is focused on Batman figures, Batmobile, diecast cars, that sort of thing.
Of all your Batman action figures, what is your favorite one?
This is kind of hard to believe, but when Batman was on TV, there wasn't a whole lot of merchandising for the TV show, at least featuring the likeness of Adam West and Burt Ward. It wasn't until the last few years they started releasing merchandise with his likeness on it. And one of the figures they released was this large scale, I think it's a 1/6 scale Adam West Batman figure. And man, when I saw that for the first time, I fell in love with it and had to have it.
All right, well, this has inspired me, Joe. I got to go to the Toys R Us is closed.
Yeah.
Well,
R.I.P.
I guess I'll have to go to the toy aisle and Piggly Wiggly and start my collection of TV movie cars. Thanks for inviting us into your mansion and your bat cave.
Where does he get all those wonderful toys?
We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more Comic Experience Sci-Fi.
Come on, buddy, we got work to do.
Welcome back to Comic Experience Sci-Fi, everybody. Jill, it's time for your favorite segment.
It would be, except it's with Mark.
This is Mark from Great Lakes Comic Expo, here with Ghidorah. You are a big monster. Oh, have you seen Godzilla? He can save us. I destroyed him already. Oh, this is a great monster, Ghidorah, but in the United States, he is called Ghidra, a great monster. This is Mark at the Great Lakes Comic Expo. I'm here with Jeremy. Jeremy, and he's dressed as Ghidorah, that's the Japanese pronunciation for Ghidra that we know here in the United States. Tell me, so how did you make this costume?
I got a bunch of EVA foam, and I made it for the body, the legs, the heads, and then I covered that with little pieces of foam I cut out as scales. I have boots on inside the feet so they don't slide around. And the tails are stuffed animals, like real long snakes that I covered in scales too.
This looks pretty elaborate. How long does it take you to get into this costume?
It takes me about 15, 20 minutes. Sometimes I need help getting stuff brought in too, because I can't carry it all in at once.
It's like putting on a big giant snowsuit, right?
And I can't go through doors easily, so I got to put it on once I'm in a tall enough venue. Last year I was Mechagodzilla. I also have a lot of Transformers.
Cool that people come here actually wearing costumes from characters and monsters from movies and shows from like 30, 40 years ago, because everyone's so current with the latest trends of characters. You know, we know it's really cool and refreshing to actually see something that most people don't know who you are.
Yeah, exactly. I agree too. I like the old school stuff because it has great nostalgic value.
Well, thanks for talking to us, Ghidorah, and This is Mark with Comic Experience Sci-Fi.
Thank you.
And now it's time for Nick's favorite segment.
This is my favorite segment.
With Richie.
In the video picks, yes.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Jill. This is Richie Rollins back again with more home video releases. And this week, I have one of Steven Spielberg's new classics, Ready Player One.
Save the Oasis.
Save the world.
Players, are you ready?
That's better. I'll wave to you from the finish line. McFly.
That went well. By now, those kids have to be driving you crazy on their summer vacation. May I suggest a babysitter? A little thing called Gravity Falls, the complete series.
Whatever happens, I'll be right here, supporting you every step of the... Oh my gosh, a pig!
And this is worse than the apocalypse.
That was fun.
Dude, this is awesome. You two are like the mystery twins.
When you two work together, there's like nothing you can't accomplish.
Grappling hook!
It can't get worse than this.
Good luck sleeping tonight.
Your wax figures turned out to be evil, so we fought them to the death.
I decapitated Larry King.
You kids and your imaginations.
I couldn't make this up if I wanted to.
And finally, we have a collector's edition for you, In the Mouth of Madness, created by horror genius John Carpenter. You know, I told you once before about horror movies. I don't like them. I don't know why we're doing them here on Comic Experience Sci-Fi.
Kane's writing has been known to have an effect on his readers.
See this? It's a map.
This whole thing has been staged.
You just get out.
This is not reality.
It's all happening for real, Trent.
I'll never get these images out of my mind. I hate horror movies. Well, that's it for this week. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Rich. And now it's time for our least favorite segment, the closing.
Don't worry, you can catch more of us online on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to follow us on YouTube.
And we'll see you next week with more Comic Experience Sci-Fi.